Hey everybody, it's your girl Nell and welcome to Simply Nell's Tiny Studio. I am so happy that I am back in the tiny studio with you, and I hope that you feel the same way. This video is not necessarily a dreadlock love video, baby. You know what time it is. This is really a video about Black women and self-hate. This is about the whys of the intricate whys of self-hating and why we perpetuate that self-hate onto one another as Black women. I would like to know your comments and how you feel about this as well. And that's the beauty of coming into the tiny studio and having tiny studio guests come in to talk with me, to discuss things with me, because I want to get your viewpoint. I want to know how you feel, and I want to know what your thoughts are about this subject. So let's just hop into this. Oh, if you have not already subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so. It costs you absolutely nothing unless you would like to be a member of Simply Nell's Tiny Studio, a sustainable member. Then that information will be left in the description box below this video. So let's get into it. The other day, Anita Baker, I'm sure you've already heard this story though. Anita Baker canceled her concert. It was a special Mother's Day concert, and she canceled it moments before she was scheduled to go on. And a lot of people were upset. Black Twitter was on fire. So was Instagram and other modes of social media. Everyone was upset and hot about it. And there was this one particular video that went viral of a sister who was venting about Anita Baker canceling her show. And in the process of her venting and expressing herself, she called Anita Baker a bald-headed bee. Now, let me just be, and I'm getting upset right now. Let me just be as absolutely as transparent and as honest as I can possibly be. When someone is angry and they are expressing themselves, I'm all for it. I'm all for you being able to say how you feel, especially if you feel wronged. If you are wronged, you have every right to be angry. You have every right to vent and express yourself. Yes. But we have to also be aware of the fact that when you are angry and you say certain things, those things cannot be retracted. That's number one. And number two, when you sit back and you say things such as calling someone a bald-headed bee, what that it does is it tells and says a lot about you. So when I saw that video and the fifth thing that came out of this sister's mouth was, Anita B, you bald-headed bee, I just was, I was done. And at that point, I didn't really care that Anita Baker had canceled the concert. What I really focused in on was the bald-headed bee statement. Okay, I honed in on that. And the reason why is because, and it was really telling for me about this person, about that sister who made that comment. It was really telling because it really emphasized how she felt about herself. And you may say, Nell, what do you mean by that? What are you saying? What are you saying about that? What do you mean? What I'm saying is when one sister calls another sister a bald-headed bee, that's self-hate. That's self-hate. That is something that I have experienced firsthand from other African American women. When I was coming up I was born in the late 60s, was raised in the 70s, and came of age in the 1980s. We didn't know anything about weaves. We knew about wigs, but we didn't know anything about weaves. We didn't know anything about, if you wanted to, if you were a person or a woman whose hair didn't naturally grow longer or grow like mine does. And my hair was long when, before I even hopped on the road of dreads. If if you were not genetically disposed to grow long hair or hair in long lengths, then the only thing that you could do was to keep your hair, whatever length it was, washed, pressed, and curled. That was it. And that was okay. I knew lots of sisters who rocked short styles. I rocked a short crop style on purpose many, many, many times. But when I was coming up, having short hair on a girl was a bad thing. It was a bad thing. Those girls were ostracized. They were bullied by boys and girls, and they felt some kind of way. And they took that frustration out on me or on the girls that they felt were cute, or on the girls they felt were, that were light skinned, or on the girls who had the long hair. So I was bullied by girls who were bullied because they had short hair. And as I got older, I understood that. I understood the dynamics of it. But it still didn't make me feel good as a person who was on the other end of being bullied. It didn't make me feel good, but I saw the pattern and I understood that. As I became an adult, I really understood the pattern and the psychology of why young Black girls feel the way they do and why they react in the manner that they do. When it comes to Black hair and Black beauty, and this is where the self-hate comes in at, it's something that is a perpetual type of thing. It's something that has been embedded in us for generations. It's in our DNA. Self-hate. Yes, self-hate is in our DNA. It comes from us being enslaved. It comes from being dominated. It comes from being indoctrinated by our oppressors, by the colonizers, by those who enslaved us. They put in us the mentality and perpetuated that mentality that Black is not beautiful, that Black in all its forms is ugly. So, when you are put in a situation where you are demoralized, you are demeaned, you are subjugated, you are oppressed, your body is not your own, your children are not your own. At any and every turn, you can be abused. You are treated inhumanely, subhuman, 3/4 of an individual, of a human being. When you, over time, as this continues over time, in order for you to survive, you have to move along with the flow of this hatred. You have to move with it. Moving against it outright can be your life and the life of the people you love. So you have to swim with the tide. And as a lot of us swam with the tide in order to survive, some of the features of hate became imbued in us. And that's where we begin to spew self-hatred, not just within ourselves, but to others who look like us. The division was not caused by us. The division was caused by those who enslaved us. That's when we begin to push and pull against one another. That's when we begin to say, oh, the house servants, or those enslaved in the big house somehow believe that they're better than those of us who are enslaved and have to work in the fields. Those of us who are enslaved, whose skin is lighter, closer to the enslaver or the colonizer, that they're better than us who are of darker hue, whose ancestors or whose mothers were not subjected to the assaulting by the enslaver. All of these things were not something that we created. It was created for us, and we became a part of that system. And then as time went on, you have media that began to create what beauty is and what is the epitome of beauty. Clara Bow, silent film actress, she was designated the epitome of beauty. Marilyn Monroe, beauty. That's what beauty, that's the standard of beauty. Lauren Bacall, the standard of beauty. You move on down the line to my time period. I was born in the late 60s. I was raised in the 70s, came of age in the 80s. What did I see on television? Who were the women who were the epitome of beauty in my little brown eyes? You had Bo Derek. You had Farrah Fawcett. You had Suzanne Summers. Who were they? They were the standards of beauty. Open up any Vogue magazine. 99.9% white women. That was the standard. And it is still in many forms, in many regards, the standard of beauty is, what the standard of beauty is white women. So when you're a little black girl and you're watching commercials and you see white women wash their hair and fling their hair around to show the length and how bouncy and fresh it is, that bouncy and fresh blonde hair, and you see that over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. The only black people you see represented on television that look kind of like you, that's wearing their real and natural hair, it's Thelma Evans on Good Times, Bernadette Stanzas, and Little Penny on Good Times, Janet Jackson, and then Charlene on a different, not different, on Different Strokes. Charlene, Janet Jackson again. This is what I see. Those were the black faces I saw as a young black girl. And that was for maybe a half hour or 25 minutes a week. Or I should say an hour and 25 minutes, because if I sat down and watched Soul Train for an hour, Soul Train was full of black commercials catered to the black audience. But in the meantime, for everything else, if I'm watching the Dukes of Hazzard, Wonder Woman, The Incredible Hulk, Dallas with my mom, or if I'm watching what else, whatever TV I'm watching, The Addams Family, there's going to be some commercial where the discussion of beauty is going to be perpetuated by a Euro-American woman. And so all of that is indoctrination. And we become indoctrinated as the descendants of the enslaved. We become indoctrinated with that nonsense of what beauty is. And it's not just beauty, it's everything. Every facet of Euro-American life is subjected to the yardage or the scale of what your Americans think or believe it to be. So your Americans have this thing of what a family should look like. They need to have a house with a white picket fence and two parents and 2.5 kids and a dog and a cat. Who came up with that? Black people didn't come up with that perception. White people came up with that. Euro-Americans came up with that perception of what family is supposed to look like. The family is supposed to look like the Cleavers or like Ozzie and Harriet. That's what family is supposed to be like. That's the image that was set up for us, for everybody to sit down and believe. Just like the image of what Black life is was perpetuated by Norman Lear. Think about it. So he set up the perception of what Black life is with good times. Many of his Black characters weren't professional people. No, they were laborers. They weren't educators. They weren't politicians. And if they were politicians, they were scamming people. You know, that was what we saw and what I saw on television. Yes, I was affected by what Black beauty or what beauty, not Black beauty, what beauty is supposed to be all about. Because when my mom would wash my hair and she would put the towel, wrap the towel around my sister and I head, and we would go around swinging it like we were in a shampoo commercial. Because we have been indoctrinated with what the ideal or the idealism of what beauty is. And that theory is that the standard of beauty will always be Euro-American women or European women. They are the subject and the standard of beauty. And when you begin to remove yourself, when you as a Black person begin to remove yourself from that standard and begin to say, hey, this is what my standard of beauty is. My natural hair. Whether it's pressed, whether it's curled, whether it's locked. That is what beauty is. Beauty is Pam Grier. Beauty is Naomi Campbell. Beauty is Garcelle Bouvet. Beauty is who else? Minnie Riperton. Beauty is Jane Kennedy. That's what beauty is. Beauty is Angela Davis in all her Afro glory. Beauty is Lauryn Hill. Beauty is Aretha Franklin. That's what beauty is. And as I began to deprogram myself and really begin to understand what true beauty is, I begin to embrace myself. I begin to embrace me and love me and love all of me, all my hair, everything. So when I hear another Black woman call a Black woman bald-headed bee, it infuriates me. It angers me. But what I feel needs to be done is we need to deprogram ourselves collectively. Because calling one Black woman or calling a Black woman bald-headed bee, it has so many negative implications. So many hurtful things come to mind when I hear or whenever I hear that phrase bald-headed bee. What the hell? You couldn't have thought of anything else to say about Anita Baker. Nothing else came to mind but bald-headed bee. And if that came to this sister's mind like that, to me, that shows that we have a long way to go. We have a long way to go to entangle ourselves from the Euro-American vision and projection of what beauty is supposed to be. And this is why our African cousins and sisters on the mother continent, that's why they wear weaves. That's why they have a long wig slapped on their heads. Because they have bought into our their Euro-American cousins, their African-American cousins, we have bought into the concept of Euro-American beauty. So they see us slapping on a weave, slapping on a wig, rejecting our natural hair, putting people down for wearing their natural hair, and calling one another bald-headed bees. They see that and they follow our example. And we all are beginning to look like fools. Because believe it or not, the Euro-American woman admires us. Admires us. They admire our hair. They admire our skin tone. They want that. They admire our lips. They want that. They admire our breasts. They admire our hips. They admire our butts. They want that. They're dying to look like us. And here we are, allowing other cultures to exploit us. Here we are, exploiting ourselves for money, and also hurling words of insult at one another. Anita Baker has always worn a shortcut. Always. From the first time I even knew who she was, singing I Just Want to Be Your Girl with Detroit's Own Chapter 8. She's always worn a shortcut. I don't know why. I don't know why. Maybe that's her preference. That's who she is. But she rocks it well. And I respect that. I've never seen Anita Baker in a weave or a wig. So obviously she loves her hair. So for that sister on TikTok who called Anita Baker a bald-headed bee, this is my message for you. Stop hating yourself. Learn to love yourself. Learn to love yourself. Because we are a reflection of one another. I may not be your physical sister, but I am your sister. I am your cousin. I am your mother. I am your aunt. I am your daughter. Anita Baker may not be genetically your sister, but she is still your sister, your mother, your daughter, your grandmother, your aunt, your niece. And when you hurl things so insulting and demeaning to one Black woman, you're hurling it at all of us. And some of us may not be aware or awakened to that type of concept, but I'm here to tell you that it is true. And it is because of our own self-hatred that we have made people millionaires. We have made other cultures millionaires. We have sent their children and grandchildren to college because of our own self-hatred. And you know what I'm talking about, because I've said it before on this channel. So that's all I had to say about that. I had to hop on and talk about that because I wouldn't be Nell if I didn't. And everything on the internet, well, everything on my channel is a reflection of me and a reflection of what I'm thinking and how my mind operates. And I'd like to know, how do you feel about that? What do you think about one sister calling another sister a bald-headed bee? What did you think about that when you saw that video? I mean, it's one thing to be upset and mad at Anita Baker for not showing up moments before the curtain was to rise, but calling her a bald-headed bee, I got to draw the line. I really do. And maybe that's a sign of what this culture has, or what this culture and what the African American, the black community has really dissolved into. Maybe this is what maybe this is who we are these days. Maybe loving one another and community feeling, maybe that has all just, disappeared. What do you think? Thank you so much for, spending this time with me in a tiny studio. And thank you for listening to me vent a little bit, because I just feel that as the mature queen I am, the mature black woman that I call myself, the crone that I am, I just feel that it's really necessary to call things out when I see them, especially when they come out of the mouths of other black women. That's really unnecessary. We go around, we put a lot of things into the universe, a lot of negativity into the universe, and for some reason we don't believe that the universe returns in kind. For some reason we don't believe that karma is real. We don't believe that what you sow is what you're going to reap. We don't believe that when I send out a frisbee that it's not going to come back. Or a boomerang. We must don't believe in those concepts anymore. We must do not believe in the concept of gravity. What goes up must come down. I guess we don't believe in those type of things. I don't know. What do you think? All right, I'm going to get on off of this line here, and I'm going to head on and do some other things. But I hope you have a really, really great day. And as I said before, there'll be more videos popping up here in the tiny studio. And this video will probably be uploaded. When you see this video, it'll probably be Wednesday. So watch for future videos on Wednesdays and Fridays. And I am going to make every attempt to go live on Saturdays or throughout the week when I can. So I will talk to you guys later. And remember, hop down in the comment section and tell me your thoughts. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.